live. You're watching Fox 44 News First Edition.
Well, of course, as we all know, hurricane season is in full swing, and one thing most of us don't think about is pictures. And here we have with us LSU Archival Expert Ed Bidwell with details on how we can preserve those and other precious documents in case of a natural disaster. So, Ed, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, kind of tell me a little bit about, preserving pictures and as well as other important documents.
So, the big thing that, unlike most people where they don't think about this until after a flood or after a natural disaster, is to think about this as you're preparing all of your other hurricane preparedness activities. So making sure that you store things in proper containers is key. Make sure not to use tape or glue like you see sometimes with the older photo albums where things are glued down because it can damage the photographs. But it's important to come up with a priority list. What are you going to grab if you have to evacuate, and what can stay at your house? And for the things that stay at your house, you need to make sure not to store them in the attic or in the garage, but somewhere in the house, preferably high up, like a closet, the shelving in a closet or something like that. And then if you can, right before you evacuate, putting items into some sort of container that's watertight with a gasket can help prevent them from being damaged even more from a flood.
And what would be like the best place to get those kind of items to make sure your pictures and documents are safe?
So there are official products that archivists use, but those are always, I mean, if you can afford them, that's great, but I don't think most of us can. So you can actually get things from Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere that you would get those plastic totes. The thing is just making sure that they are actually watertight. So that, again, usually means having a gasket and some sort of a clip down on them to make sure that water just can't, break in and flood anyway.
Right. And what would be some other good tips for people, that want to make sure they have all those things safe? And of course, temperature, it gets hot here. So what would be the best advice you have?
So, of course, after a hurricane, if we don't have power, you can't really control the temperature, so that's out of your control. But beforehand, again, just keeping things out of your attic, keeping them out of the garage. If you have framed photos, try to make sure to use a mat so the picture isn't actually touching the glass, because if it gets too hot, the picture can actually adhere directly to the glass, and then you can't remove it, and that can be a problem. Yeah,
for sure. So we only have like a few more seconds with you. Is there like a website people can find the kind of information?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of free resources out there, and we've listed them all in an article on our own website, which is slis.lsu.edu, so slis.lsu.edu.
All right, a lot of great tips you gave us, Ed. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. But if you want more tips, we'll have all that on our website. That's at brproud.com, as well as our free BR Proud app.